for any organization to survive, they have to change with time. We have not compromised, we have not changed our aims and objects. They have always been there. Came here with only 20 pounds and you have to live with that 20 pounds.
Yeah.
So Gujarati is no longer our mother tongue, right? And we have to accept it. English is our mother tongue.
As we are talking.
And we have to teach Gujarati as if it is a foreign language. Let the young members run the show. Our time is over, and that is how it is, and that is how our Shishukunj will have a very, very bright future. And I can see that what Shishukunj gives is something which your academic school will not provide. Now, can you imagine the damage we would have done to the self-confidence of that child if that opportunity was not given? Shishukunj means everything to me. My life would not be complete without Shishukunj.
Namaste. Welcome to Shishukunj Legacy Podcast. Today, we will be speaking to Dineshbhai, a character of Shishukunj, London, who started his journey at Kalaniketan in Nairobi. Namaste, Dineshbhai.
Namaste, Krishna.
Let's start with a little bit about you as a child and your first experience with Shishukunj in Nairobi.
As a child, and like every children, most of them would remember how their first day at school would have been like. And I am no different. Even today, I do remember very clearly, as if it happened yesterday, what my first day or how I joined Shishukunj. We were living in Nairobi. Most of the people lived in town. And we moved to Nairobi West. So the school that I went to, there was one girl who used to be our neighbor, and she was going to Kalaniketan Shishukunj, and that was in South Kendra at Kongani Primary School. So when we made friends with her, she said, "Oh, I go to this organization or this place where we have fun, and it's on Sunday that I go to." So my parents gave us permission with my two sisters and my cousin, and we said, okay, we will go. But that was not my intention. As a child, I was very introvert. I was scared of doing things. And as far as my parents were concerned, yes, I've gone to this place where all these children go and they do their activities. So walking to the school, near the school there is a river and a bridge. And when we got to the bridge, I stopped. And I said, I'm not going to go any further from here. And I told my sisters and my cousin that you go on. When you finish at 12:30, we will go home back together, and we will say that we all went to this particular center. So they left me, and I sat on the bridge on my own, not knowing what to do. And it must have been about 15-20 minutes when a man from the school walked towards me and asked me what was I doing here. The person who came was Shantibai Mandalia, who was Kendra Nayak at our South Kendra. I don't remember what he said, but within few minutes, I remember holding his hand and walking to the school.
Oh, wow.
So from that day, I have never looked behind and have always been to Shishukunj ever since. So I believe the time would have been around, I must have been about 10 years old or so, and that was about 1970.
1970.
So that's how I started Shishukunj. And obviously, I'm ever so grateful to Shantibhai for approaching and giving me that push so that I can be part of this wonderful organization.
Yeah. What would you have done otherwise? Would you have gone home and told your parents you went? Or what do you think?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I would not have told my parents that I had not gone. I mean, obviously, they would have found out.
Yeah.
But then, thank goodness that occasion never came.
Okay. And so you said you were a shy child.
Yeah.
I'd never believe that, Dineshbhai, at all, in all the time I've known you. But I do know you're quiet, certainly. After you went in with Shantibhai and in your first few years with Galaniketan, were you still shy? Were you still a bit introvert?
I think I learned a lot through Shishukunj and overcome the fear that I had of people. And there are quite a few or some things which has happened in Shishukunj whilst I was there. I remember my second Shibir, which was in Kisumu. And at that time, I was made a Kendra Nayak, a Dasta Nayak. And one of the activities that we did in the Shibir was called head speeches. So basically, you have to pick up a piece of paper, and there are some topics written on it. And whatever topic you get, you are given 3 minutes to speak on it. My topic was that this morning you wake up, you look into the mirror, and you've turned into a monkey. What happened after that? Right?
So what happened?
It's very easy to say a lot of things about that now, but for me, I got up. The only words that I could say, because it was a competition, it was a Dasta competition, and what I said was, "Dear judges, my topic is," I read out what was written on there, and that's about it. Literally, that was about it. After that, for 3 minutes, I did not utter a single word, and I just froze in front of everybody.
Oh, wow.
Now, you can say whether that was a good experience or not, but the thing is that sort of did not stop me, because I had other Karyakaro and other friends who were with me, and they never sort of made a joke of me.
Okay.
They never took a Mickey out of me that, you were not able to say anything. And I think that is one of the good things in Shishukunj, that even if you are weak and if you can't do anything, there will be a lot of people who will support you around. And I'm a witness to all that.
Okay. Did someone speak to you afterwards?
I don't remember,
Okay.
to be honest, but something must have happened, because obviously things did not stop there. Yeah.
Okay. Any other life-changing moments like that in your first kind of...
People call me with various names, and again, the character that I was very fearful, shy, not want to do things and all that. So again, an incident which I remember very clearly was we were playing Guch games in Kisumu Shibir. Again, another incident that happened. And it was a rough game, and I don't remember exactly what game it was, whether it was a kabaddi or whatever. And I fell down. And I hurt my elbow, and I was on the verge of crying. Almost tears in my eyes, because I was quite badly hurt. And the words that were told to me, again, I very clearly remember, is ke jo tu rois to tu chokri che. That was said by Dineshbhai Patel. The tears went back. It never came out. That was one incident which changed me completely. And after that, I was the fear in me of getting hurt and everything else went away. So that was another spark that I got from Shishukunj. And, we, with Dineshbhai and everybody else, South Kendra that we went to became a very good kabaddi player,
Okay.
kabaddi team.
Yeah. Okay. Now, just on that, like, we'd never say that to a barak today, ever.
No.
In fact, we'd let them cry.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? I mean, we let barako, boys included, payo included, cry and express emotion and...
It is very important to express your emotions, and emotions can be two things. And I suppose it is a boy thing that, as a boy, you're not supposed to cry. It's a man thing, right? So it's quite different. But with that, that was the physical hurt. But then you got inner emotions where you have felt something, you got a hurt in your mind or something that has happened, which is non-physical. At that time, yes, you must be allowed, or we must make our children, our members comfortable that they can they can speak to somebody and we can give them a shoulder to cry on, which is very important as well.
Is that something that Shishukunj does? It strengthens physically, but also allows people to feel emotionally.
It has. And over the years, I have seen that a lot of children do go through a lot of difficulties in their life. And sometimes, or not sometimes, quite often we see that their buddies or elder karyakars are the people who are able to understand their emotions and, help them out during those difficult times.
Okay. Now, you said you started Shishukunj 1970, you said?
1970.
1970. Yeah. Did you spend any time with Dineshbhai Walladbhai in that time?
Yes. The Kendra that I went to, South Kendra, was the last Kendra which received Nasto. So Vallabhai and Devchandbhai dropped the Nastos at all the other Kendras, and South Kendra was the last place.
Every Sunday?
Every Sunday.
Okay. And
that was one highlight of the day, apart from games. And Nasto was always kachri bateta. And together with that, although the Nasto was there, but a Balsabha item from Vallabhai and Devchandbhai, and especially Vallabhai with his Balgit and everything else, Devchandbhai with his stories, and the way he finished his story was, he never finished his story. He always left a cliffhanger and he said, "Jo tamne varta agar sambhalvi hoy, to avta ravivarna kendra upar avjo." So if you want to listen further to this story, then you better come to Shishukunj next Sunday.
Okay.
And that made a lot of children to come to Shishukunj.
Just to hear his stories. Okay. Yeah. And aside from those memories of Vallabhai doing Balgit, Devchandbhai doing Balvarta, did you have any other interaction? Did they do any talim with you? Did they train you?
I remember one particular day, which was a Saturday, and at that time I was ill and I had mumps.
Oh.
And we were preparing an item for Baldin. So Baldin is usually around December.
November,
December, 14th of November. That's when all the Kendras prepared an item. And Devchandbhai had come to our house where we lived, and we call Faryu, so that's the lower part of the building, and we were preparing a play. And despite being ill and everything else, I don't remember exactly what item we were preparing, but I do remember on that Saturday afternoon getting out of bed and trying to take part or be with Devchandbhai at that time. Apart from that, after joining Shishukunj with my kaka, my uncle and his friends who came to Shishukunj in South Kendra, My friend circle became more and more of Shishukunj, and I used to spend more time, especially Saturday and Sunday, and especially when we had holidays. We used to go out, Roland Camp and other places where it's a campsite in Nairobi, and we used to go swimming and camp hunting with Rameshbhai, and it was very adventurous. And we used to go to Vallabhai's house to pick up Rameshbhai, and we used to various venues we left from. And I remember routinely few times that I've been to Vallabhai's house regularly. Every Sunday when there is no Shishukunj, they will have prayers, and he would be reciting Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
So that was the experience and what I have learned. The other thing is spending time or attending what we call Budhwari Betak, where whenever it was school holidays, that's the time we could attend Budhwari Betak because that was at our Makan. And at that time, I had opportunity of listening to or be with Vallabhbhai and Devchandbhai. And Bhayo, after the meeting, they used to make sure that each and every person who attended that meeting had a way of reaching home safely.
Okay.
And after that, they left home. So, very caring, making sure that all the children are safe and everything else. Then I remember one evening, and there was a meeting at somebody's house, and fairly young at that time, about 12 years old. I think they were planning for a Kisumu Shibir or Nyeri Shibir. I don't remember which one. And I had gone to the meeting with my uncle, who was quite senior, and they were planning some Shibir. And I was asked to leave the room where the meeting was happening. And I could hear that there was a lot of shouting going on and some heated arguments. Obviously, because I was not in the meeting, I couldn't figure out what it was. But then, after some time, I learned that Devchandbhai and Vallabhbhai usually used to have a very heated argument about Shishukunj activities, things to do with Shishukunj. Both of them will have their own point of view, and they will very, very strongly put their case forward. But then I hear a lot of people that after the meeting is finished, regardless how heated the argument may be, you would not have even smelled a little that these two boys, these two men had an argument.
Okay.
So what they are saying is, okay, Shishukunj, whatever work you do in Shishukunj, you must have a difference of opinion, right? But not any ill feeling or any hard feeling against anybody. So that is something which was very, very unique about Bhayo. And they also say that the relation that they had between these two Bhayo was they are like Ram and Lakshman, right? And obviously, it has shown that even to the time when death came, they both departed together.
Together. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And how long were you when did you leave Nairobi to come to London?
I left Nairobi in 1979, December 79, when I had been made a Karyakar, and I was Kendra Nayak at Sharda Kendra.
Okay.
So although I joined in South Kendra as a young member, a time came when a lot of young members and young Karyakar, they were leaving Kenya to settle and for further studies in London. So what happened was that there was a shortage of Karyakar who could run the Kendra, and as a result of that, decision was taken to close or to shut down the South Kendra.
Okay.
Very similar to Croydon. And then it was decided at that time that they will start Yuva Kendra. So that is for Talimi Karyakaro and Karyakaro in town.
Okay.
And so whoever remained in South Kendra got transferred to Yuva Kendra, which was in town. And I was asked to go to Sharda Kendra as a Kendra Nayak.
Okay.
So I believe I was Kendra Nayak for a couple of years before I came to London.
So 1979.
1979.
Okay. And then how was that? How was that transition?
The transition from Nairobi to London, I would say, as far as Shishukunj is concerned, it was a seamless transfer.
Okay.
Right? So when I came here, Rameshbhai Ruda, Bharatbhai Dhanani, and few other Karyakars were already there. So when I came here, as soon as I landed here, within 1 or 2 weeks, I was in contact with Rameshbhai and Bharatbhai, and later on Dakshaben and them, the Fairway family and everything else. So it was really finishing Nairobi Shishukunj and then joining London Shishukunj straight away.
Okay. And did that take up a lot of your time when you came here then?
Yes and no, because obviously when you come to a new country, there are a lot of challenges because when I came here, I stayed with my uncle and they lived in Wembley. So in terms of location, it was very good because Rameshbhai also lived, I think Bharatbhai and Rameshbhai, they rented a flat in Ealing Road in Wembley. Dakshaben and them, they were in Kingsbury and I was in Wembley. So in terms of location, it was easy for us to communicate. So 2 challenges: one, to find my place, to sort out my life, whatever I wanted to do, possibly in terms of further education, and to earn a livelihood as well, because came here with only 20 pounds and
gosh,
you have to live with that 20 pounds. So I remember in the morning, I landed at Heathrow Airport, came home, had breakfast, and at 2 o'clock, I started painting houses.
Wow.
So
to earn a living.
This was to help my uncle because he had just bought a house. And basically the thing was get on with life.
Okay.
Right? Just get on because, and from there, with his guidance and everything else, I learned quite a bit of building trade, which later on helped me to earn my livelihood as well.
Okay. And how was Shishukunj, how was Kendra here different to?
The Kendra here were quite different. In terms of activities, quite a similar thing. But the major factor was the communication, because most of the communication here happened in English.
Okay.
So although I studied in Nairobi in English and everything else, but still most of our communication was in Gujarati. Very little of English, so that itself became a challenge to express. And obviously our accent, the Kenyan accent and the UK accent was challenging, but it is something which is there. And to the contrary, I mean, we used to get compliments that your English is much
Very
clearer
good.
and clearly spoken than how it was spoken at that time. And it was easy to sort of fit in. Obviously, being a Kendra Nayak in Nairobi and then here joining Hero Kendra at Grant Road. The activities happened on Saturday afternoon. So I tried to avoid, as far as possible, working on Saturdays, because what happened was my uncle, who was working in the building trade, he used to work in a company during the weekdays. And then in the evening, he used to keep private work.
Okay.
So I went as
as
a helper to help him with whatever private work he did. So in that respect, but having said that, my kaki, whom I used to stay with, and my uncle, they still used to encourage me to go to Shishukunj
Okay.
on Saturday, and then go to work with him on Sunday.
Okay.
And when I went to work on the building trade, obviously I was paid.
Yes,
So that helped me with my expenses and all that. So
Hmm.
life was challenging.
Yes.
And that is what it was at
What
that
it was,
time.
yeah. Your Gujarati was obviously better than your English at that time. Is there any link between that? Any reason why we've always known you as a strong, supporter, promoter of the Gujarati language at Shishukunj. You were a head teacher at Shishukunj, a Gujarati head teacher at some point. Where does that passion for teaching Barak or Gujarati come from?
Obviously, that had come from Shishukunj. I had spent a couple of years of my childhood, so that's when about I was 4 and 5 in India, and I used to go to a Bal Mandir and studied basic Gujarati there. Then I was about 6 years old. We moved to Nairobi, and the school that I went to, that was a Hindu school, Sri Sanatan Dharam Primary School in town, SSD. And for 1 year, they taught Gujarati, but that was only one lesson in a week. And after that, Gujarati was abolished and it changed to Swahili.
Yeah.
Then I joined Shishukunj, and Shishukunj started Gujarati classes on Saturday afternoons.
Okay.
And Narendrabhai Buddhadev was my Gujarati teacher. And I also used to travel to Sharda school where the Gujarati classes were with him. So spent some time with him as well. But the way Gujarati was taught in Shishukunj was with fun. And even today, I still remember how I learnt my alphabets and Gujarati in Shishukunj. And it was through a game. So he would jumble up all the k, kh, g on the blackboard. He would draw a house. And then he says, okay, we are going for a walk. And he would say, okay, you are leaving your house and you have to draw a line and you are going to meet your friend beginning with, then the children will say, where is ka? So you will say ka for whatever, cup or kamad, ke whatever the word begins with. Then you draw the line and then you go to ka. Then somebody will say, okay, now we are going to go to a friend Ra. So you have to show where the Ra is and Ra, Rameshbhai. So you draw a line and you go to Ra. So it was a game. The lines should not cross each other.
Oh, wow.
The lines should not touch each other. So that became your hand coordination to improve your Gujarati writing. And then you have to go back to your house. So if your line touched, so you have to jumble up and it becomes like a spider web.
Yeah.
Right? So that became the fun element, and obviously with our Baal Git and everything else. So that idea, fun and how Gujarati can be taught, and obviously with whatever I learned and everything else, doing experiments, finding different ways of everything, made me more interested in Gujarati. The other thing was how I improved my Gujarati was where we stayed in the ferry. Our neighbors used to have Gujarati magazines. So he used to have Chanda Mama. So that's the children's Gujarati magazine.
Yeah.
Then he used to have Chakram. He used to have again quite a few Gujarati magazines. So it became a habit that number one, I would do some reading, and that reading was in Gujarati, and it became a habit, and that is how I improved my Gujarati through reading. And when I came here, we used to have Gujarati classes on Saturday.
Yes.
I remember my first day going to Hera Kendra, and Ajay Bhai Punatar was taking a Gujarati class. And he was the only one at that time taking Gujarati class at Hero Kendra. And with my knowledge and whatever little I knew of Gujarati got me interested. And that's how I started getting involved in Gujarati with Shishukunj.
I mean, you were very instrumental in developing our Pasha Vargo approach
Yes.
as well here in London,
Yeah.
changing it from learning just the Barakri and the alphabet and and a very traditional approach, and changing it more into a playful approach
Yes.
with the younger Barako at least. Is that something that should be followed through for all of the year groups that we teach? I mean, at the moment, it's really the younger groups.
So my approach was, and when we had open days with the children, with the parents, especially with being a head teacher in Gujarati and that. So one fact that we had to accept was that Gujarati is no longer our mother tongue, right? And we have to accept it. English is our mother tongue.
Yeah, as we are talking.
And we have to teach Gujarati as if it is a foreign language
Right.
to our children. And that is the approach that I had taken. The way they learn German, French, whatever other languages they learn at school, that is how we have to teach Gujarati. Then quite often the biggest complaint from the children was that Gujarati is boring. Right? So that itself became sort of a challenge to me as a person, as an individual, that why should our, if we say Gujarati, apni matrubhasha che, to why should Gujarati be boring, right? It is a language which our parents, our grandparents, and everybody spoke. So how can we change that into an interesting, a fun way of learning? And that is when, with Daksha Ben and a few other people, we started doing experimenting and basically not doing anything different, but what does a child enjoy doing? The simple thing is that they want to play games and they want to have fun. So our belief of Gamat Sathe Gnan, right? Our basic principle, Gamat Sathe Gnan, and how can we give Gnan with Gamat to our children? And we said that, okay, we will do Gamat Sathe Gnan, then we can introduce Ramayana. We introduced cartoon in Ramayana. Children loves watching cartoon. But then we are introducing Ramayana to the children. It's happening in English, and the discussion obviously changed into Gujarati. And with that, we said, okay, let us build the vocabulary first before we introduce any writing to them. Because writing is important, but like any foreign language, writing can only come in if you have if you've got a vocabulary,
Right.
if you've got sentences to speak to.
Yeah.
And that was a simple approach we did, and then introducing our Bal Git and everything else, and that's how Gujarati was made interesting.
Okay. In your time at Shishukunj in London, you've held many roles. I mean, you were Kendra Nayak, you have been president of the Sanstha, one of our youngest presidents, I think, and been a governor, I think. Yes. In that time, in the 40 odd years or however long you've been here at Shishukunj London, what's changed?
A lot of things have changed in the way we run our organization. And obviously, as an individual, I think if I look back in time, I am a completely different person than what I used to be or how I was.
Of course.
And talking about change, there are a lot of individuals who have played a role in my life and brought some changes and all that. And it is through inspirations from various people. And I would like to mention something about something which happened. So it was, we did Udan Khatola in 1993, 97.
Yeah.
So I had, with quite a few other Karyakaro, that we had the time of spending some time with Indubhai. And unknowingly to me, Indubai was studying me. He was observing me, what I do, how I do things, and everything else, because I was the secretary at that time. And after work, I used to go to, obviously with a lot of other people, we were preparing udon khatola, and we used to go to the bhavan to do the preparation for the items and what have you. So Indubai was here for 6 months. And after Indubai went away, he wrote a letter to me. It was a 4-page letter.
In
Right?
Gujarati.
A 4-page letter written in Gujarati. And then to understand,
His handwriting as well. Yeah.
he had sent 2 letters, right? One letter was for Meena, which he had sent to me so that I can read it out to her. And the other letter was to me directly.
Yeah.
Quite a lot of things has been written in that letter. And the challenge to me was, a person like Indubai has written a letter to me. How do I reply to that? I did not reply. I could not find words as to how can I reply to that letter in response to whatever was written in that letter. So basically, he was acknowledging and appreciating me and encouraging me as to how I had conducted the whole of administration of Udin Khatola at that time, and very inspirational. And then he was talking about, in his letter, he's talking about what a Karyakar should be like and how Shishukunj has been conducting its activities in the past and how it should change to future.
Okay.
Change the ways in we do our activities and everything else. So he was giving some comparison between Kenya and Nairobi, and to some extent, and this is perhaps maybe in my character, or you are very strict, you are very rigid in a lot of things, and also perhaps outside Shishukunj, how my childhood had been and everything else. So very strict, and there are only this way things can happen. But London Shishukunj has changed in so many ways, right? So many ways in the sense that it is very evident now that very few, hardly any senior members are involved in running the organization. So basically, in a nutshell, what Indubai is telling is that for any organization to survive, they have to change with time.
Okay.
We have not compromised, we have not changed our aims and objects. They have always been there. The theory has changed. How we deliver our activities have changed. The way I delivered the activities in my time is quite different to how the children conduct our activities today in so many ways. And these are the changes that we do. But the best and the biggest thing that was taken, the change that we did was let the young members run the show. Our time is over, right? We had our time. If we performed in our time, good luck. If we did not perform in your time, then bad luck to you. But now our time is over, and we should not interfere the way the young members today run the organization. And that is how it is, and that is how our Shishukunj will have a very, very bright future. And I can see that, right? Today, I get so much inspired by how our young committee, most of them are around 40 and below, right? How they run this organization. My God, right? And you people have got even more challenges than what we had when we came here, right? You have got your career is very demanding. You are married, you've got children, right? You've got families to look after. And then apart from that, the time that you give, we are totally humble and inspired with what you do. And these are the changes which we can see.
Okay. So there's positive changes, I
Very
suppose.
positive changes,
Okay.
absolutely.
What has remained that, that Shishukunj will always pride itself on or find itself unique on?
Our principles, right? Our caring nature for the children. Our આપણે જેને કહીએ ને કે in Gujarati we say ભાઈચારો કે કે understanding and very importantly આપણે બધા એક છે.
Okay.
Right? We are all one. So કાલ સવારના કોઈને કાંઈ તકલીફ થાય, right? I can tell you without any doubt whatsoever that if I went through any challenges or any difficulties, right, at midnight, I will have people standing at the door to help me out, right? So these are the values. These are the things which has never changed. These are the things which I have experienced when I was a child in Shishukunj. And also when coming to this country, like I said, I had a lot of challenges, earning my livelihood, education, career, right? I had the support of a lot of individuals behind me, and for which I'll be ever so grateful. So these are the things even today, right, has not changed, and I'm sure it will not change.
Okay. Après bala ekche, our focus on children. We've always tried to be very inclusive as an organization.
Yeah.
What examples have you personally experienced that demonstrate that, or are seeing today that demonstrate that?
So you see, this is the beauty about our organization, right? We see a child as a child, right? We do not, obviously we look into the gift. We have got gifted child who are, clever children who are exceptionally good at everything else. Those children will always flourish wherever they go. Then we have children who come to our organization who have got different challenges, right? We have got children who have come to our Shishukunj who have got physical challenges and mental challenges, right? I can talk about Parasbhai, who had the disfigured face and everything else. Unfortunately, he passed away. But the way he was taken into our organization, regardless how he looked, but the children, they did not see how that person looked like. Our children, our karyakar, they saw, okay, that is a child, and they looked at that particular as a person, as a child, right? So that was, I think, first time ever we had this sort of bhai with challenges in our organization. Then I remember this very clearly, at that time being a Gujarati head teacher, and Ronakbhai wanted to take GCSE exams. And our head teacher did not approve his examination application. Because Ronakbhai has got his challenges and he will need a person to help him to write his exam paper. So his dad, Rajeshbhai, approached me, very angry and furious. I mean, very angry, very disappointed, saying that my child has been refused a letter of to apply for his exams in Gujarati. So the complaint came to me, and he said, "Really, Dineshbhai, what can be done?" I said, "What is your wish?" And more importantly, forget his wish. What is the wish of the child? So Ronakbhai said that he wanted to sit for the exams. So if the child wanted to sit for the exams, who are we to deny that opportunity to that child. So I authorized his entry for the exam. And believe you me, he passed with a C.
Oh, right.
He passed the exams. Now, can you imagine the damage we would have done to the self-confidence of that child if that opportunity was not
Yeah.
given?
Yeah.
Right? This is what a Karyakar is about in Shishukunj. Okay, each and every child, look at them on its merit, and you must go out of your way to fulfill the requirement of that child. Even today, we have got a couple of children who come with difficulties, and I talk about Vijaybhai, right, who is quite an active member in our Seva group now. You will not believe Vijaybhai used to come to Wembley Kendra,
Yes, yeah. He
right?
tells me often, yeah.
Yeah, and his child,
Sunil
which
Bhai.
bit he has got,
He's autistic.
he's
Yeah.
autistic, and he said that Shishukunj is an organization which provided him the space and the platform for his child to be accepted in Shishukunj. And to me, this is very important for our children as well. That you may be normal, you may be 100% perfect, but you must be flexible and you must be inclusive in taking on board any child, regardless what the challenge is, and we should stand up to those challenges, right? I must clarify the fact also that we are not a specialist organization to take care of children with special needs, but whenever, ever, if anybody walks into our door of Shishukunj, a child should not be deprived a membership because he has got different challenges, but we should stand up and face those challenges.
If you were to leave one message for our Garikas, for our Barako, for our parents, what would that be?
What I say is that Shishukunj, people may think that I am biased in my view, but Shishukunj is a unique organization. It is unique in so many ways, and I'll tell you something else which I experienced when I was in Bhuj last 2 weeks, and we had a shibir in Bhuj. So the children, we had we had children from two centers. One was from Bhuj, and one was from Nilpur. So, and you can see that the children came from two distinctive groups. What Shishukunj gives is something which your academic school will not provide. The education, the life molding, the upbringing that Shishukunj will give to become a good human being, your children's academic school will not provide that, right? So if you want your child to be a good human being, a caring human being, then Shishukunj is the place where they will learn a lot of things.
Okay.
So in putting differently, what I say is that Shishukunj is university of life, right? You can have the best education in whatever school that you are going to go to, but whatever your academic school is not going to provide, Shishukunj is going to provide, and a lot of things your child will learn, and they will really prepare your child to face any challenges that they will come up in their life during their adult life, right? So Shishukunj will thoroughly prepare your child to face any challenges. So if you want your child to have a good life, then it is important that they are part of Shishukunj as well.
Thank you. And then last question. If you were to put it very simply, what does Shishukunj mean to you?
Shishukunj means everything to me, right? I cannot see my life apart from Shishukunj. I mean, obviously, I've got my married life now. Boys have grown up, married, and all that. But apart from that, my life would not be complete without Shishukunj. So I still firmly believe that as far as I am healthy and both physically and mentally, as far as I'm possible, for me, I should always be there for Shishukunj. And really, it is because, you see, probably there's a selfish motive here as well. Why do I come to Shishukunj? I think when I come to Shishukunj, I'm a lot happier, right? I'm a lot happier meeting with all the young members, all the people who run the organization, and even also, spending time with all these 7, 8 year old children. I am reliving my childhood, right? Honestly, I am reliving my childhood, and that is the biggest thing about me for Shishukunj that is giving me.
Thank you, Dineshbhai.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing so openly and honestly and reflecting on your journey. Namaste.
Namaste.